Hello, everybody. I have been saying this a few times now. Today has not gone. Let me reduce this a little bit. Today has not really gone according to exactly how I wanted it to go, because the Facebook account somehow got blocked. But it wasn't anything, bad. It was just technical things, messing about with the passwords and things like that. And then the whole thing just, fell apart. But all in all, I feel very happy, and it has been a successful day for me, because I've laid out exactly what I wanted, and I still have it around here. The pillars of what I am trying to talk about. Changing the role of the army, and it will still be the military complex. If we have a no-war economy, who will be the owners of that economy? And then the next one is designated places of war. If we really have to go to war, then let's do it like the way they do boxing. You just don't go boxing everybody on the street. If you really want to punch up, go to where the ring is, and do your thing from there. Then the next one is about using tossing the coin or the lottery to make these decisions that do not have a definitive answer. That is a divine way of doing things. That is one of the best way, which is the closest to divinity. That is the third one. The fourth one is far away from me. Let me see it and then come back again. Yeah, the fourth one is disputes. Disputes, the money they use for fighting the dispute, compared to if that money was committed to building something new. That the something new being built would have been much bigger than the dispute. You see, than the money used for the dispute. And you check it out. You see the economics of that. You will see. Then obviously the next one here, we've talked about the land disputes. Then the next one is unfair and cruel economic laws. We live in a world where tools are being blocked to be used by law. Things like engines and machines and so on and so forth. People don't have the rights to access to these machines, to make them and to maintain them. How are we going to manage to build this world if access to those machines is not there? It's like being on a ship, and the ship is sinking, and you have information on how that ship can be prevented from sinking, and you're hiding that information. We are in this world together as one big human family, superhuman family. Let us share this information for all primary tools so that we can have it and we all build this world together. You see, I think that's very, very important. Then the next one is health. Health, when I was planning this, malaria, I had malaria in mind. But now that we've gone through this pandemic, I think it makes my point even clearer. If there were people who were responsible to make sure that as long as pandemics are prevented, they get paid, I'm telling you, this pandemic wouldn't have happened. You see, but instead, we have a type of economy where if things go wrong, that's when people get paid. People should be paid for if things don't go wrong. Even criminality, the less the criminality, the more money people should be paid. That's the way things should go. Economies have two facets, more than two facets, but in this argument, two facets. One where things are bought based on the incremental basis, the incremental gradient, things going positively, where like food and so on. Then another should be when things are reducing, like crimes and bad things. The more that reduces, the more these people should get, like disease and so on, the more these people should get paid. But we are doing it the opposite. It's very surprising that we do that in the world. So that we have to change. Then the next one is education. Education is another sad one. Very, very sad indeed. If you count the number of people who have degrees and PhDs and so on, these powerful philosophers and powerful degrees, but they are jobless. Or if they are not jobless, they are involved in crime. Sometimes they're not even caught, but they're corrupt. So what was the purpose of being in this, studying for all these years? You know, so that you only come out to be, you know, a professional criminal. Then you might as well have not gone to university or college to study these things if you're going to end up to be corrupt. I think there is a major, severe problem with the educational system. And of course, I can talk more about it. That's not all. That's why we have this problem. So that really needs to severely change. Then the next one is nuclear power potential. And the way I've put this together is nuclear power there's so much power in nuclear power. I wouldn't want to use the word unfortunately, but there is this attribute to nuclear power that it can be used as a weapon. You see? But if we imagine for one moment, if that ability to use it for weapons was not there, and only this that we can use it for energy was the only thing that was there, I am telling you, nuclear power would have solved all our problems. It would have solved the climate change problem. It would have solved our energy problem, our energy consumption problems. We would not have problems with energy. But unfortunately, because there is this thing where nuclear power can be used as a weapon, just a weapon of mass destruction, it is now almost like a better way for me to say it is, for lack of a better way for me to say it is like it has held us hostage. You know, we are hostages of the fact that because this thing can be used for weapons, it prevents us from using it to maximize the use for it as for civilian purposes. So that is with nuclear power. So there is something like a test for humanity here. You know, it's a like, you know, a rose flower and the prick. So what do we do? How do we get the rose flower without having to get pricked? How do we get the beauty out of nuclear without it hurting us? This is the thing which is there. And then the two second last ones, compensation and reconciliation. Of course, when a lot of things change, some people will see themselves like they are on the losing side. So we have to have a robust compensation system in place, as well as if we augment that with reconciliation, and the terms of compensation may not necessarily be financial. There can be other terms of negotiations, but even though financial will be one of them. And then finally is if we simulate on a computer dashboard the economy between a no-war economy and a war economy, you will clearly see the difference. In the no-war economy, you'll be able to see how things will happen, compared that to this war economy that we've been going through for many years now. There will be a clear difference. So this is what this is about. So I prepared what I was going to say today, but unfortunately, obviously, the Facebook account, like I said, did not work. So I've decided to make a video. I've gone through the 11 points that I have. There's supposed to be 12. The last one, we'll talk about it another time, but at least I've told you about the 11 points. So now I'm simply going to read what it is I had prepared as for my opening remarks, because I had put some major important points there. Of course, what is this about? This is about ending all wars and terrorism, because wars and terrorism are opposites of each other. The people who fight, you know, and the people who fight against those who fight. So I am remembering that people have tried to do this for many years, and we have had so many failures. And I'm also asking myself, why do I think this time it will be different, and so on. So I have all that in mind. But basically what this is about is to create awareness in the hope that we will kickstart an active thinking about how we can end all wars and terrorism. Because we now have better alternatives than warring, given our advancements in technology, in our religions, for those of us who believe in God and believe in deity, in our cultures and in our academics. It would be, and it is pointless, to carry on with a poor method of solving problems when in the course of our endeavors, through the course of our history, for many years, we have now found better ways of doing things. So wars may have been necessary in the past, despite their horror, but they were based on very little knowledge. They're based on mistakes, lies, and misconceptions. Times have now significantly changed, and we now, in our ways of solving problems, the development that we have should be reflected in that. So our methods of solving disputes must match our success in development in these areas that I've mentioned. So we have to eliminate this thing, this horror of us killing each other. So remember, the players, the active players in doing this thing about war, the active actors in it, causing wars and terrorism, these are the most intelligent people we have. I want you to take time to think about this. These are the most intelligent people we have on both sides. Say if there is a dispute that can result in war between the United States and North Korea, for example, North Korea comes up with his best boys, and United States of America comes up with his best boys as well, and these two clash. And what do we get? Just them killing themselves, innocent people dying, and property damaged. That is the same old story, you see? So these are the most intelligent people in the world. They have extraordinary abilities to solve all problems. But then again, for the sake of argument, if you argue they are not, then where are those who are behind the scenes, who are clever, to raise to the occasion, to come and try and solve these problems without us killing each other? Yeah. So where are the intelligent people? You should come up, you see? Otherwise, this is a waste of intellect. You have to bear that in mind, how intelligent we are and our capacity to solve problems in other ways. So the name of this project is I'm asking for your mercy in understanding to end all wars. And in these wars, particularly where the target is innocent people. And like I've said, always when we go to war, we majorly kill innocent people, kill the players, and destroy and damage property. Because the power to end wars is in our choice. That is entirely up to our choice. By how we actively, or by how you actively get involved in stopping it. So I'm just saying here that war is a choice. So I went through very many names. I'm not going to go through that now to try and to find the best name for this. So even this one, Your Mercy Peace Project, is still a tentative name, but I went through things like conflict without death. And in some of my notes, you will see conflict without death, weapons of mass construction, mankindness, and so on and so forth. So I am begging you, please, I am begging, really, really begging, listen to what I'm trying to say in its entirety. It's not going to make progress, or it's not going to make a good way of communication if you just come up with, you don't understand the whole thing. You have to understand the whole thing. Then the conversation will be better like that. So please, I beg, listen to what I'm trying to say. Listen to the whole thing. I am asking you, praying to you, and asking for your mercy. Listen to the plight of the innocent people who get caught in war. And I've written something there saying that there's no good reason to kill anybody who is innocent. They themselves don't even have the right to take their own lives. So who are we then to put them in a position where we take their lives? Yeah. So there is no good reason to kill someone innocent. That is a fundamental law of social existence. That should be a fundamental law of social existence. If and when we break that law, we will always have problems. Let us talk and talk and talk. It will take time, but these problems will heal. Don't just say it is impossible without saying why you think it's impossible. I must tell you this, that when I came, this is just a little story, when I came into the United Kingdom, I live in the United Kingdom, I was mesmerized by the beauty of this country. And in my mind, I looked at it as a template, eventually, not immediately, eventually I looked at it. This is a good template to be replicated across the world. And I still hold those thoughts, and I hope one day people will realize, and steps will be taken towards that. So I'm trying to say here that I was amazed by the system, how organized they were, the buildings, the judicial system, and the list of good things that I saw and have seen is really long. This soon looked to me like a template, and it needed transposing so that the whole world can get built in a similar sense. But I also discovered that there is a dark side to this success of that story. But then I thought to myself, it would not be productive or it would not be helpful to dwell in such, dark sides of our history, except on very, very careful occasions where we do it objectively and for the purposes of learning. Also, I discovered two best things, as for us humans. I discovered in my endeavors as a human being that one of the best things, arguably, two of the best things we have is us, the human being. We are such a good thing. And then second thing is the planet in which we live. That really makes me feel wonderful and feel so good. That this, if you look at it from that point of view, these are the best things we have. Us, the human family, and the planet, our planet and beyond. So we all have a responsibility and a duty to look after each other, to keep each other safe and healthy, and to keep our world safe and in good condition. I found this world beautiful, and I intend to leave it as beautiful as I found it. I must mention, I've taken cues from great engineers, scholars, leaders, athletes, entrepreneurs, and other great peoples. I've got a long list, and in other presentations or posts and so on and so forth, I'll mention some of my heroes, people like Lady Diana, Brunel, one of the great engineers, and Nelson Mandela, people like that, and so on and so forth. The list is very, very long of the people that have really given me encouragement. I've picked good words from them, and they are my role models. I'm taking only the good things that I've seen from them. I'm discarding the bad things. So, in my experiences as a man growing and so on and so forth, as a victim in war in Uganda in 1979 and in 1986, I've seriously questioned the rationale of killing someone innocent, because I have been put in a position where I've had to contemplate that. And the product of that contemplation, this is one of the products that I want us to stop all wars, because I don't want anybody to be put in a position where they have to kill someone innocent. I was lucky. There was no gun pointed at me when that process was happening. But there are others who, they have no choice. If they don't get involved in killing innocent people, they would lose their lives. So they are trading that in the place of their lives. So I am trying to prevent that, because there are people in the world, they find themselves in a situation where they have no choice but to do these terrible things, because if they don't, they will die themselves. So they are doing it to prevent their life, to prevent their lives from being lost. So that's a very bad, precarious position to be in. And it reminds me of things like those who are caught in the middle of war, the innocent people, where you are caught between a hard rock and a rock and a hard place. So it has made me question this rationale of killing someone innocent. So this idea that sacrifice, no, that's not a good reason. And we will talk more about that. And like I said, I am now remembering people like 9/11, who were caught in the middle of things, people like Lee Rigby, the police shootings in the United States of America, and the list there is very long as well. We know police shooting black people, and us dropping bombs in countries and so on. That is, the thing is the story is very long. So we target innocent people. So there is a huge bank of enmity between us in what I have seen as what I'm describing as a social stampede. So when such things happen, I get severe restlessness. That is the reason why I am doing this, in an effort to stop it all, having ascertained the possibility of success soon or later. As with many stories of our success in our history, like the breakthroughs in inventions, steam engine, computers, and so on and so forth. So war, this way of solving problems where we kill each other by legal means, we should forget it. It should begin to finish now, because we have better ways of doing things. However, I have met resistance in the form of pessimism and fear and misconception and lies. So one of the pessimistic arguments to continue with war is that it's human nature, and that is completely wrong. So I don't disagree with it. Rather, I completely disagree with it. I completely disagree with it. Let me make that clear. But if I may agree with it for a moment, what about the human nature to be good? Yeah. So why should we allow the human nature to be bad, to override everything? And we forget the human nature to be good, because we also have the human nature to be good. Most people in the world are good people. You see? I am, and we are all driven by goodness of mankindness to end all wars. So that's why I'm here. I'm being driven by being good. Because it's innate in me. I was born good. So why do you say, So there is a misconception that, for example, nobody is born a killer. There's no child who is born who knows how to kill. This one is born. You have to learn how to kill. You see? You have to practice. You have to think about it for a long period of time. You see? It's a skill, just like any other skill. You have to learn it. It just doesn't come automatically. So it's not natural to be a killer. It's not. So it's not human nature to be a killer. It's not human nature. So you can't say it's human nature to be a killer. No, it isn't. You have to learn it. It's something we pick from somewhere. You see? So the other argument is greed. We're all greedy. Yeah? We're all greedy. From time to time we can be greedy. You see? You see? Greed is and can be applied when you don't have any knowledge about the abundance of resources that are available in the world. Even vicious animals like dogs, if you tame them, they stop being greedy. So greed is not a big problem. Greed, you are tameable. I think it's got to do with people not having knowledge about how abundant resources are. I can be greedy, and I think to be greedy to be greedy is a good thing. But if you be greedy for something that is going to destroy you, that's bad. Things like, I'm digressing a little bit here. Things like drinking and other bad things. If you are greedy for things like that, that's not good for you. Let me mention here that resources, petrol and fossil fuels, and they will never run out. Never, ever run out. I can tell you that with confidence. Whoever allowed us to be in this world, whether you say it's evolution, whether you say it's God, there's no way you can allow us to be in this world without providing us with enough resources to sustain us, as long as we can be sustained. You see? So I must mention here, resources will never run out permanently. They may run out every now and again, but they get replenished. And we have technology to store things so that we can mitigate them running out, going too low. Resources have never run out in the last 10,000 years. You cannot mention to me one thing that has run out in the last 10,000 years. Nothing has ever run out in terms of resources. And they will never run out. If they did, there would be no point to fight to the death, because even the winner of the fight will be met with depleted resources at the end of the fight. And what will be the point for the fight? Then the other one is, apparently, wars make money. No, they don't. This is a very sad argument for war. Where is the money? Yeah? Which kind of business is this which brings you constant problems and you still keep doing it? Yeah? This business, they say they make money, they sell weapons, it brings them problems, and they keep doing it. It doesn't make any money. War doesn't make any money. And yet, yeah, there are better alternatives. And you keep doing this business that imprisons you in your business. In this analysis, I have found out that money has got two values. The value that we measure by the quantity and the value that we measure by the quality. Oh my goodness, it's amazing how people follow the quantity with zero regard to the quality of the money. Let me repeat that. It's amazing how we all are misled in chasing money by the quantity with little regard to the quality, with reference to human dignity and our prowess and nobility. War is an example of an activity that breeds the constant loss of qualitative currency, or the qualitative value of currency. The quality market is so desperately poor that it cannot buy you real security. It buys you something like a prison. It's so poor that you can easily find the market to buy or to purchase insecurity. What I mean is leaders and heads of states are prone and are exposed to this market where their assassination can happen. You take time to think about that. What I mean by that, any person who wants to do something bad can just give somebody a couple of quid, a couple of money here and there, and something happens. That's how bad this war economy is. The market is so poor. The quality of the money is so poor that you can do heinous things like that. I hope you understand that point. You see? Let me repeat it. Also, the market allows... Let me repeat this point again first. Listen to this. The quality market, the quality of money in the market is so desperately poor that it cannot buy you real security. It buys you something like a prison. It's so poor that you can easily find the market to buy or to purchase insecurity. What I mean, leaders and heads of states are prone and exposed to this market where their assassination can happen. You can buy somebody to assassinate a leader in that market. That market where the quality of the money is so poor, there's no dignity. Also, the market that allows innocent local common citizens to be targets is available right here in this war economy. To be honest, I can't wait to hear economists giving me a counter-argument to what I've said here. You see? If you want to cause some commotion, some insecurity, you can find some idiot. I'm sorry to use the word idiot. I do apologize. I retract that word. You can find somebody vulnerable. And you pay him some money and you tell him go and do something bad. It will happen because there's no human dignity. So we should breed an economy which has got human dignity in it. And we have the facility to do it. And this is what I'm trying to say. We already have that economy existing. You see? So let me say something else here just in a simplistic way. Then those who say that they sell weapons, then those weapons go ahead and cause wars. And then the wars cause a humanitarian crisis. When it causes the humanitarian crisis and poverty, then the countries which were selling the weapons now have to foot the bill of the humanitarian crisis, which is always higher than the profits that they say that they made. You see? So the bill is always more than the poor low value or the low profit they quote after weapons sales. So like I said, I can't wait to hear a counter-argument to what I've said there. So, in as far as I can see, war does not make money. It makes a mess of everything. And we have to start seriously thinking how to bring it all to an end in this era. In yet another success story, as with the steam engine and all these other things that I've said, like the internet internal combustion engine, this is another thing which is in the pipeline for us to get rid of. In fact, total peace, as I am, or as we are suggesting here, is possible. It's a possible product on the global market. And it is the same players, the military complex, the army, who will own the full rights to total peace, which we all can pay into by our common existing taxes. It will not be a new tax, it will be the same tax. We're just changing the function of that tax based on the fundamental law of social existence, that there is no good reason to kill someone innocent. So, the reasons why we've been keeping on going on with war despite its terribleness and its horror and so on and so forth. I've got a one-liner here. We have been defending a failed credibility. And a good example I can give you to explain that is, you know, when somebody kills the goose, the golden goose, trying to get the gold out of the goose, and then later finds there's no gold in there, and now he has to give reasons. Oh, I killed the goose, and he's defending why he killed the goose. And we know there is no gold in the goose, in the dead goose. But now he just has to defend the goose. Oh, I killed it for this reason. Oh, don't ask me questions. Oh, no, don't worry about why I killed the goose. And he's trying to find other reasons. That's the one of the better ways I can explain why we keep on doing these things, which we know are terrible, You know, we're just trying to defend a failed credibility. Of course, we're stuck in old ways. You know, there is people who have benefited out of it here and there. They are worried that if things change, they're going to lose out. I have a major point in this program of reconciliation and compensation. As long as I am in charge, nobody is going to lose. No. I mean, let me re-say that. I'm not going to say, oh, as long as I'm in charge. That's proverbial. I'm just saying, if it will be made sure that nobody is going to lose, because the way this has been planned is we are just changing things. Nobody is going to lose. We're making an extension in the house. Nobody is going to be homeless. So, yeah. Then fear. We're doing this because of fear. You know, there's a lot of people who are scared and so on and so forth. So, and then institutional mistakes. You know, sometimes when we have made a mistake as an institution, to change it becomes very difficult. Sometimes think about things like the laws of apartheid or the laws of segregation, the laws of, unfair laws and things like that, the laws of things like FGM and so on. These are institutional things. It's usually difficult to change, you know, so that's one of the problems. Then the other thing I've really found out is that people, especially religious people, they say they trust who they think their God is, but their actions do not show that they do trust God. They actually trust chariots, and it's there in the Bible. Trusting in the Lord, but not trusting in chariots. A lot of people trust the chariots. They trust the weapon. They don't trust God. They trust the weapon. That's why they don't want to get rid of the weapon. The weapons. I've seen even on everywhere, you know, some religious leaders, they have bodyguards and weapons. You see? So you see the irony there, where you say, oh, I trust the Lord, but then you trust this thing. So that's the other thing. So I'm nearly finishing now, yeah? So mistakes and misunderstanding is we're nearly, yeah, I'm nearly there, just bear with me, yeah. Mistakes and misunderstanding. Humans, we have independent minds. That is what makes us humans. Then in order to live in harmony, we need to somehow converge in agreements. So these agreements need constant and good management to prevent failure. In this analysis, we have been really slow in updating things, and yet we are quick to violence. So I am basically saying there is a problem with all the system. And I've mentioned the education system, I've mentioned the health system, and even the law system. You know, the system that we use to create laws, where people usually can abuse it. You know, like in this case, you create the weapons. The weapons goes in countries. It creates a humanitarian crisis, and those humanitarian crises comes back to these countries which made the weapons. And then when people try to help those, like the refugees, to try and help them, somebody wants to create a law to prevent people from helping the refugees. And yet it's the weapons they created that brought these refugees in the first place. Do you see what I'm saying? You see? So there is a problem with the law-making system as well. You see? Let me leave that there. Misunderstanding and mistakes. I'm just continuing now. Misunderstandings and mistakes is a good part. Is a good thing within our. It's a good part of learning and progress. So we have to be extremely careful, so that we do not cause irreversible actions. You know, like death, because we are prone to mistakes. We will always make mistakes. You see. So be careful that it doesn't cause death, because death is irreversible. So here, just to report on a fundamental basis, there are things we don't know, and we may never know. And it's amazing how people claim to know things which we know that we do not know, like our origins before life on earth and our destination after life on earth. A lot of claims about our origins and destination is based on like whispers, you know, Chinese whispers, so to speak. And this is the source of further mistakes and misunderstandings and dangerous beliefs. Then, let me say this, dominant organizations like the United Nations and all such other organizations, those organizations were created by, let me put it this way, those organizations are inherently biased towards the people and the side that created it, like the permanent members that constitute those organizations. So because of that dynamic in such organizations, the UN can only do peace that is partial. They can never do peace that is impartial. So the job is half done. So in a way, it's like a part-time thing because they're only doing half the job, because they are biased towards their side of the story. Anybody who is opposed to them, then it's not 100% peace. You see? So if we did, this contributes to preventing total peace. And if we did things in this style, we get similar results. So I guess, I'm not guessing here, and I think that's the reason why the UN is, as much as they have done a good job, there's a good bit where they have actually severely failed. So warmongering is a full-time thing. If our efforts are on a part-time basis, on less than a half basis, we have no chance of doing things, to changing things, or to make total peace. The people who do warmongering, they are doing it on a full-time basis, sometimes on a more than 1.5 basis, twice the time. And we who are trying to bring peace, we're doing it on a part-time basis. We have no chance if we do things like that. You see, so we activists do things on a part-time basis. If we're doing it on part-time, there's no chance we're ever going to change this thing. So, thank you very much for listening. Things have not gone to plan. This is the little bit that I've tried to do. I am going to post this video on YouTube, and it will soon come. So thank you very much for listening. Blessings and blessings always. Moses Milamaya, peace activist. Thank you very much.